Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and for today's episode of Tsuki Neon, we are looking at episode 4 of season 8 of Adventure Time: High Strangeness. This is a Tree Trunks episode. All of those are horrifying and uncomfortable and fantastic at the same time. And this one is no different. It starts out with, it starts out with Tree Trunks snoring, and her husband, Mr. Pig, wakes up because of her snoring and then puts some tape over part of her trunk to keep her from, making a lot of noise. Anyways, he goes back to sleep, and then these aliens show up and take her away, and we discover that she's been abducted by aliens in the past and has many children with them. Oh my god, poor Mr. Pig. Seriously. Oh man. His discomfort is... it reminds me of that one episode where near the... everything really... Tree Trunks is simultaneously one of the best characters and one of the worst characters. But yeah, seriously, what happens is, after she has this little encounter thing with the aliens, they put her back, etc., etc., she talks to Mr. Pig, and Mr. Pig's like, hey, Princess Bubblegum's having a thing tomorrow, and Tree Trunks holds a grudge against Princess Bubblegum for particular reasons. Anyways, they go and see what is essentially Mr. Pig thinks it's a free fireworks show. It's really just a space shuttle launch, which Princess Bubblegum's decided to divest a bunch of into making rockets. You'll see. I'll get to it. Anyway, she launches her rocket. Turns out the rocket hits the spaceship, which the little UFO where Tree Trunks' children are. Her galactic chillins, her galactic chillins. I love how she's got that horrible drawl that gets worse when she gets angry, which is hilarious. Anyways, she discovers that that rocket that hits the UFO is actually spreading all sorts of gum children into it, and those have infested it, and her UFO friends aren't fighting back. So Tree Trunks confronts Princess Bubblegum about it, and of course Princess Bubblegum walks away, doesn't care what Tree Trunks has to say. She really doesn't. And then we're given to a part where Tree Trunks is setting up a protest, save the galactic chillins and such, And then Starchy, who is our favorite, he's kind of the Starchy is kind of the Alex Jones Coast to Coast AM character in the Candy Kingdom. And there's this really great sequence, for the sake of a joke, where they're near this door, and Starchy's like, this is a secret entrance, and he hits a little thing, they fall down a tunnel, and they go through this long, elaborate sequence, which puts them right outside where the tunnel is, so they can go to the door next to it. It's a fantastic visual gag that I was like, okay, excellent. Anywho, they get there, and it's pretty much just a meeting of what you could say UFO enthusiasts or whatnot. I think it kind of funny. Starchy's got a King of Ooh in Toronto poster on the back of his little wall. Of course he would. He would be Starchy would be the kind of person who would be he'd be like, flame doesn't melt candy canes. You know who those people are. But anyways, they decide to, after Tree Trunks eventually convinces this group to go ahead and invade Princess Bubblegum's little space program thing. So they break into that, they get caught. Tree Trunks gets abducted again, and then uses the little beam from the UFO to abduct Princess Bubblegum and show Princess Bubblegum what her gum children rocket things are doing to these people, or these aliens. So Princess Bubblegum reverses that, and they end up back in back in at Earth in a ditch, or rather, in a ditch, and as they're walking through there, Tree Trunks is like, they have a little conversation back and forth. Princess Bubblegum lets Tree Trunks know that pretty much everything can go wrong, horribly wrong. There are millions of ways to go for everything to go wrong, and she has to consider those, and that's why she's sending out gum rockets to other uninhabited planets to further the Candy Kingdom, just in case some type of horrifying apocalypse happens in which the entirety of the King of Ooh or the Candy Kingdom gets wiped out, which is responsible. It's a responsible thing to do. And it's a good thing to do for a leader to do. Expansionism is sometimes pretty good. I mean, people forget that expansionism and protection, you have to think about what's best for you and your constituents. Whether you're a princess in the Candy Kingdom or the President of the United States or whatnot, you have to have, I mean, the Candy Kingdom is surrounded by gumball guardians and strong walls, and that's because there are so many ways that something horribly wrong can go by. Part of being a leader is knowing and weighing down those risks. Sometimes you have to make choices, like in the case with Princess Bubblegum and Tree Trunks. After Princess Bubblegum explains to Tree Trunks what's wrong, Tree Trunks is like, I don't agree with you on a principle, but I understand what you're doing. So sometimes you have to go past what's wrong or what you feel is wrong for the common good of everyone as a whole. You have to think about that. A leader has to consider everyone, not just the rights of few, the rights of many. That's what you have to do. You have to make tough choices, and not everyone will like you for that. And that's kind of demonstrated in this episode. Anywho, Princess Bubblegum comes to an agreement where she pretty much talks to those aliens and gets them to go ahead and take some of these little candy pod rocket things, these gum rockets, to uninhabited worlds for her. Which works because that ties us into like Bravest Warriors and what we saw in like the Graybles times 1000 episode, etc., etc. Makes sense. And the episode ends with Tree Trunks being visited by her alien friends who tell her that they're going to go away for a little while. Mr. Pig wakes up, notices this, and is about to freak out over it, and Tree Trunks is like, no, meet my alien husband. And then Mr. Pig, just horrified by this, shakes hands with the alien, and that's the end of the episode, which I thought was pretty great. This is one of those episodes where I'm like, oh, there is so much meat and fantastic jokes in this. Lots of great visual gags. Like the whole, the Bushi thing. That was pretty great. This planet is my prison. Yeah. It's just great episode overall. What do you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this if you haven't already. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share, and make sure you hit that little bell just in case you want to know whenever we have brand new episodes up. So until the next video comes out, you are now caught up.
You got too much money, honey. All of this dash is threatening the structural integrity of the treehouse.
Who would have thought we could have too much treasure?